Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and Assalamu Alaikum. In the first module, we discussed a few reasons for studying history. One of them was to see how history repeats itself and then analyzing what was common between the two repeats. And if we do find a common feature between the two, we classify it as a pattern in history. Now, if we see the same event is happening in our times, then we can say with some degree of certainty that history is going to repeat itself. So, analyzing the past is like the key to unlock the door of the future. Now, let's look at the pattern of history from Nuh alayhi salam onwards to the times of Hud alayhi salam and Saleh alayhi salam. On this map of Arabia, you can see where the nations of Ad and Samud used to live. You can see that geographically they were quite close to the mushriks of Mecca. So they had most definitely heard about them. The nations of Ad and Samud were in fact Arabs and therefore had two connections with the Arab mushriks. One was geographical nearness, so they were neighbors. And the second was that they were Arabs, so they were relatives as well. So Allah mentions these two nations even after Allah had told about the nation of Nuh alayhi salam and the flood. Why? The flood of Nuh alayhi salam was enough to scare anyone away from shirk, right? But since these areas were close to the Arabs, it meant that they used to see these ruins in every trip. It was easier to learn from the mistakes of their relatives and neighbors rather than from someone whom they did not know. So, what was the common pattern between the nation of Nuh alayhi salam and that of Ad and Samud? In the last session, we came to know that by the time of Nuh alayhi salam, Iblis had made man forget Allah, and people had started worshipping false gods. Nuh alayhi salam preached to them for 950 years, and finally a flood came and destroyed everyone except the handful of believing people with him. This is the first major event in his human history in which there is a cause and an effect. Cause being a nation worshipping false gods, and effect being the destruction of that nation. That is a pattern. Now, this pattern is again visible in the history of Hud alayhi salam, sent to Ad, and Saleh alayhi salam, who was sent to the people of Thamud. As time passed, people again forgot the true teachings and started worshipping false gods and were destroyed. Same cause and effect. So we have seen the pattern now. Even though compared to Nuh alayhi salam's times, Ad and Samud were technologically advanced. They could build such huge structures and carve out mountains, but that too did not save them from Allah's wrath when He wished it for them. The lesson being that even our technology cannot save us from Allah. Keep this in mind, and we will see this pattern to repeat in future history. So, while better technology has helped people perform better over their rivals, but when technology begins to be treated as a false god, Allah has shown His power against the technology god. Were Hud alayhi salam and Saleh alayhi salam the only prophets sent between Nuh and Ibrahim alayhi salam? Probably no. But we don't know about anyone other than them. The reason being that the Arabs of that time did not know much about China or India or America, so there was no point in mentioning a Chinese or Indian prophet. So, with this study of cause and effect, we will now take a look at the future prophets and see how this pattern repeats and does it have the same effect. See you in the live class. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.